There are different kinds of down payment assistance programs that you can look at. Many states, like I said, offer the same thing. In Minnesota, we have the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency Deferred Payment Loan Plus. So what that is, it's like a maximum amount of like $18,000. So you get up to $18,000 in down payment and closing costs. It's a deferred loan. It's got a 0% interest rate. And it may be combined with a non-Minnesota Housing Finance Agency subordinate financing, like a nonprofit, local, or for-profit, etc., things like that. As long as it meets MHFA, GSE, and Insurer First Mortgage Program requirements. There are program requirements that are out there. They're all going to have a requirement no matter what. Now you also got the deferred payment loan for $14,000 with all the same things. So you can get like $14,000, $18,000. You can look at these, okay? Now, you also got the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency monthly payment loan program. Now, this one has income limits, and they verify for first mortgage chosen, startup, step up. The limits within these programs model are the step up income limits. Sorry. Okay. The lender is responsible for renewing specific first mortgage program guidelines for relevant details. So your lender should know about these when you're going to them. That has a maximum of $14,000, and it's up to $14,000. So in whole dollar amounts for down payment and closing cost assistance in the form of a second mortgage. With this, it can be combined with most other loans. Its income and purchase price limits are determined by the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency and first mortgage loan programs. So you do not have to be a first-time home buyer when utilizing the step-up first mortgage. You do not have to be. It's good that you do. And like I'm saying, most of the states will probably have these programs as well. So listen to these programs and see, does my state have this? And really dive into it. Now, Minnesota Housing Finance Agency has a first-generation home buyer loan. Right now, they're out of funds, so you have to get into that right away at the beginning of the year. But they're transitioning to a manual commitment request process for the Minnesota Housing First Generation Homebuyer Loan. This is going to enable everybody to verify fund availability before committing to this kind of a loan. So that way they know the funds are there. It's a maximum amount of $35,000. It's a standard down payment. Customary borrowers' closing costs include prepaids, additional down payment, and mortgage insurance costs. Mortgage insurance is the thing. The bank gets mortgage insurance, it covers them. You need to get your own too when you're doing any kind of loan. They have a deferred loan, 0% interest rate, forgivable loan, eligible for subordinate if the borrower is refinancing with step up and submits required documentation to Minnesota Housing. Also, manufactured housing ownership only counts as prior home ownership if the manufactured home was permanently affixed to the ground in a way of a foundation. So you cannot just do it on a manufactured home. It has to have a foundation. Okay? There is another one I learned about. It's the ARCASA, Energy Integrated Mortgage Program. That's ARCASA. And it gives you up to $14,294, which is 5.5% of purchase price if you're purchasing within a certain range. Standard assistance amount, it just gives you 5.5% of the purchase price, or up to $14,294, whichever is higher, or whichever is lower. You cannot go above that threshold. It's forgivable. DPA second mortgages, it has a 10-year term, no interest rates, no monthly payments, and may be forgiven after solar is installed. I'm not a big solar person, but yes, after solar installed. It helps you like with the home or the down payments, whatever you're going to need there. There's no income limits and no first-time home buyer requirement. So that is a really good thing about this one. Program works with any FHA eligible, a CASA approved property, excluding condos. It will not work on condos. So if you want a condo, you can't do it. Now, this is a government loan. This is not a state. Borrower owns a solar system from day one, which grants eligibility for the federal solar investment tax credit. That is our CASA. Now, there's a CBC Mortgage Chenoa Fund, FHA Forgivable DPA. So what it is up to $12,995 or 5% of purchase price, whichever is lower. Assistance up to 5% of the sale price or appraised value, whichever is lower. 3.5 to 5% of the sale price or appraised value, whichever is less. So they're going to round all that up. And what it does is it covers up to $12,995 of your mortgage. Now you got the CBC Mortgage Chenoa Fund. Again, that's the same thing. Federal Home Loan Bank of Des Moines. That's the Home Start program. You can get up to $25,000 for that program. So go look at that program. It has a Home Start grant amounts up to $15,000 per household and $25,000 for households purchasing in Hawaii. So, and you can get it anywhere. So, National Urban League Progressive Up Payment DPA program. So there you can get, you must apply before the 30th of September. And the local chapter of the National Urban League determines the areas they and the local chapter offer the grant. It's a $13,500 grant. Now, it does not have to be repaid. Now you get the Appleton Housing Authority, Secura Employer Pay Assistance Housing Grant. But the employer has to be participating, and you can get up to $5,000 there. That's a lot of money. Now you got NeighborWorks Home Partners Welcome Home Down Payment Assistance Program. They're currently out of funds, but they have up to $15,000 or 30% of the purchase price of the home. And this can be forgivable 10-year term, 0% interest deferred mortgage. That is awesome. That is something that would help so many people. Like I said, there are so many programs out there people really need to look at. You have the Headwaters First Generation Community Down Payment Assistance Fund. They're currently out of funds, but you just must be a current resident in Minnesota. Plain and simple. Up to $2,999, 10% of the purchase price. Do it. Get it. It'll work. You got NeighborWorks Home Partners Midwest Minnesota Community Development Corporation. First Generation Home Buyers DPA. They're currently out of funds, but it's a resident of Minnesota and a first-time home buyer, first-generation home buyer, sorry, and you get up to $25,990. So start applying for funds at the beginning of the year. Like, get it done immediately. There's a Rochester Area Foundation First Homes GAP loan. There is a wait list on this, but it's a land trust. So it's a community land trust homes. And the thing is, you kind of have to lease the land, but it's worth it. You get to have your house. So it's got a maximum amount of $10,000. Now, let's talk about affordable first mortgages, because a lot of people are stressed out about this part. Minnesota Housing Finance Agency, they have a startup program, and so does your state. In Minnesota, there is no maximum amount. It's 30-year fixed first mortgage. It's competitive interest rates. It's got reduced private mortgage insurance if it meets the requirements. There are requirements it needs to meet. Manual underwriting permitted with FHA financing. Manufactured housing ownership only counts as if it's a prior ownership or if the manufactured home was permanently affixed to the ground in a way of a foundation. Because then it really doesn't become a manufactured home. Then it's considered a modular in a lot of ways. Did you know the only difference between stick-built homes and manufactured homes is that they're done in a factory and brought to site? Stick-built homes are out in the elements until they're fully built. That's about the only difference, honestly. And then the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency Step-Up Program. The Step-Up Program offers low-interest home mortgage to low and moderate income borrowers. They do not have to be a first-time homeowner, and you got a 30 or 15-year fixed first mortgage. So yeah, that really does work for you. There's one more additional options that I really want to talk to you about. That is the HOPPER, Hope for Homeownership H4H program. The maximum amount in that is $13,000. Through the Hope of Minnesota Research, the Hope for Homeownership Research Program, I can talk today. Sorry, I got my notes everywhere. You can earn up to $3,000 on your home purchase price, or up to $13,000 to be used in any way needed to help purchase a new home. And participants use funds towards their down payment, or to buy down their interest rate, or to pay off high interest debt, or to simply replenish their savings. Participants receive a fully owned solar system, that is rolled into the new mortgage, reducing rising electricity costs with the power generated directly to the home. Now, applicant can use any realtor, nearly any lender, and any home builder if they are buying a new home. So these are just some of the programs I have found out about. I got them all emailed to me today. And a lot of people are worried, like, I can't buy, I can't do this, I can't do that. With the right programs and the right assistance, you can buy.